I'm sure we can start. Colleagues, firstly, I must welcome you here this morning, rather this afternoon. And thank you very much for coming, because I am also, as a concerned member of the DA, firstly, and secondly, as a taxpayer, and thirdly, as a member of the public, I'm deeply worried in the manner how things are being done in our province. We came here today so that I can share with you some of the things that are happening. Not that you don't know, but I think it's important that we need to highlight some of these things that are happening here in our province. New information has come to light showing how the sore of corruption fostered by the ANC continues to fester in the Northern Cape Department of Health. This social ill steals the money meant for health for the sick and vulnerable members of our society, which proves again that the ANC is incapable of delivering any improvement in service delivery. The Democratic Alliance in the Northern Cape will therefore be conducting oversight visits to various satellite offices of the Department of Health, including the one in Aswater. This comes after service providers contacted us with complaints of serious corruption within the administration, specifically the abuse of supply chain management processes. Their complaints, which were raised with senior management members, have fallen on deaf ears, and they are becoming desperate for their bills to be settled so their businesses can stay open. One service provider delivered goods, including foodstuff, to the department's offices in Hartswater during 2017. His bill, which amounts to slightly more than 100,000, is yet to be paid as of to date. When he contacted the officers to ask about payment, he was told that the invoice will only be processed after he pays 10,000 rand into the personal bank account of a departmental official. Out of sheer desperation, he borrowed an amount of 4,000 rand, which he paid eventually into the account of this particular individual. But now, his attempts to contact the official, managers and other managers within the department are all unsuccessful. They are not interested in settling the bill for goods which were delivered because they are not getting their cut. It is not the first time that a specific service provider rendered goods and services to the department, nor was it the first time that he was asked for kickbacks. With the cost of living skyrocketing daily under a corrupt and incompetent ANC, people from all walks of life are driven to acts of desperation just to put food on their tables. We do not condone bribery or extortion, but we can understand why a father would pay a kickback so that he can get the money needed for his daughter's university fees. We can understand why business owners are slipping money into brown envelopes, not because they want to or because they think it is the right thing to do, but because they are desperate to keep their businesses' doors open. They are placing their consciences at risk for the sake of their families. Employees are dependents, and dependents can continue to have food on their tables. That is why they're doing this. These things are not condoned by choice, but by coercion of a corrupt, economically constrained environment deliberately created by the ANC. If this is the type of business practices tolerated within the ANC, and we know that it is our SMMEs that will truly suffer as a result of this, then I say we need change, and we need it now. Our provincial economy will continue to shrink, and our people will be kept trapped in a cycle of poverty and degradation, proudly sponsored by the ANC. That officials are allowed to abuse supply chain management processes as their own piggy banks with no consequences, while the department says there is no money for service delivery, is absolutely unacceptable. We know the department is suffering from a self-created shortage of funds, with a departmental overdraft of more than 338 million in March 2018, and a budgetary shortfall of half of a billion rand reported at the end of 2017-18 financial year. but it is the way in which the department manages its funds, not the amount of funding itself, which created the problems. Outstanding debts for service providers amounted to just over 479 million in March 2018, which automatically created a budget deficit for the 2018-2019 financial year. And when officials are allowed to loot the public purse at will, this budget deficit will continue to grow at the cost of business and patients alike. This is why the DA-led government in the Northern Cape will prioritize the utter eradication of corruption, with all public representatives and government officials guilty of corruption sent to prison sentence of 15 years. Corruption steals the money meant for service delivery. Now, colleagues, this is a department that can afford it the least. Not more than 2 weeks ago, you will recall, we were sitting right here and we went on an oversight. We went to the premises of the mental health hospital. On the 1st of March this year, the Department of Health was meant to have recruited 25 nursing personnel and 5 medical doctors. And that did not happen. They were meant to have started on the 1st of March. And that is why I went to the mental health hospital in order to see whether those people have been recruited and whether those people have been appointed. I can tell you, to date, nothing has happened. To date, the mental health hospital is still not open. To date, the mental health hospital still does not have furniture inside. To date, that hospital does not have the necessary personnel. That is why they can't move. But the same department can afford it to allow people that are earning salaries, people that are working there, people that are meant to deliver a service to the public. They allow those people to stay in work while they are accepting bribes of corruption. I got in my possession here today. Here's the evidence for what I'm talking about. I don't want to mention the name of the company because, as you all know, that these people are being intimidated. But in my possession here, I am sitting here with the evidence and the proof that shows to the amount of stuff that was delivered to the Department of Health in Hartswater. So I didn't call you here because I wanted to waste your time. I called you here because I wanted to flag very important issues. And colleagues, I will afford you the time to ask me questions on this matter. But before you do, I also want to tell you up front, where do I get this information from? I got this information from the service provider. This person is a black South African who lives in Khalishewe. And the Premier, every time when she speaks about service providers in a State of the Province address, year in, year out, she talks about people must be paid within 30 days. I want to say to her, Honorable Sylvia Lucas, here I'm sitting with documented evidence of somebody who hasn't been paid for almost 2 years. This person must pay bribe because he wants to keep his daughter at university. This is the stuff that was delivered. This is the evidence of the money that he transferred to the person. This is the evidence that he transferred into the bank account of the official on this particular day. And as I'm sitting here, I can share with you the names, the amounts, the account number. I can literally share with you everything regarding this incident. I must also share with you that this was not the first time that something like this happens. And business people don't want to be caught in bribery. But because of the level of desperation, and as everybody knows, to do business, especially in small provinces like the Northern Cape, it's not easy. To keep your door open, people are dragged into doing what we call bribing people, paying corruption in order to get their money to be paid. This service provider have also told me that it's not the first time that he has paid this particular person. So he already knows. The employee of the Department of Health in Hartswater told him in no uncertain terms, unless you're going to pay me my 10,000 rand, I will not pay your invoice. And that is why we're sitting here with a situation where here's a proof of the goods that was delivered, and now they are trying to fabricate a story around this. This particular business person, I happen to know personally. I grew up in Khalishewe, he grew up in Khalishewe, and that is why he trusted me with this information and he brought it to me. This man is at the level where he says, Andrew, I don't care anymore if I'm not going to get business from the Department of Health or from any other department whatsoever. Because it cannot be that a small business person like myself have to wait for so long in order to get my money. I paid money in order when I procured these things, these items. He paid money. But secondly, he must also pay money now. He paid money to transport these things as well. And thirdly, he must pay somebody who is supposed to do her job. He must pay her before he can get his money to be paid over to him. Now, when we talk about these things, then the ANC says, Andrew Lowe likes sensation. He likes cameras. He likes photographs. He likes to be in the news. They are not going to silence me. This is what I'm talking about. This is killing small businesses. We want an environment to be created where businesses can thrive. The DA would like a situation where a conducive environment can be created so that businesses can grow. But under an ANC government in the Northern Cape, businesses are going backwards. In fact, businesses are closing their doors as a result of these kind of practices. The people of this Northern Cape deserve better than this. This particular individual, colleagues, have explored all the avenues at his disposal. He told me 2 days ago that he even went to the HOD and asked him about this thing. What you see here in front of you here today, this the HOD also has in his possession. What I find very interesting, what is it that they want to investigate after they have received the goods that this man has delivered? At the time in 2017, when this poor man delivered the service, everybody was happy. But now that he has to be paid, 2 years later, he's still waiting for his money. I cannot afford to miss a salary of 1 month. I can't afford that. Because why? It's going to disorganize my entire livelihood. It will disorganize me. I don't think any one of us sitting in this boardroom here today can afford to lose a salary of 1 month. But this man have to do without 100,000, more than 100,000 rand for more than almost 2 years. And yet, people must say it's fine. It cannot be fine. It will not be fine. It can only become fine when a DA government takes over in the Northern Cape. Because we will make sure that we won't talk about corruption, we will act against corruption. That is what we will do. I would like to take questions, colleagues.
Okay, firstly, are you prepared to name and shame the specific official involved in this? And then, can you just say how much in kickback money was paid over to this official? And is it the third question is it only this one case that you know of, or are there more cases? And also, what steps are to be taken? Or what steps have you taken?
Any questions?
Okay, just to get in the Christian's question. You are showing us proof of one incident. Are there other officials who also received money, the so-called bribe money?
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay, you admit, Mr. Lowe, that the service provider is based in Kimberley, but then you also mentioned that he paid kickbacks to a departmental official in Hartswater. Can you just explain that? Why Hartswater?
Sure. I'm going to start with the last one. Why Hartswater and not Kimberley? You see, when these people procure services, they've got a central place, which is called the provincial office in Kimberley. Now, they've got satellite offices like the one in Hartswater. And from time to time, there's certain stuff, like in this case, they delivered stuff like sweet corn, iron bags, butternut, cabbage. So here it's fruit and veg, coffee, milk, and what have you. They've got a complete list of things that they ask service providers to do. And then the person that can deliver, obviously that can win the tender or that can actually give them the best prices, that is the way it goes. So you must, at the end of the day, understand that this man as a member who is on a database, because this department also works on people on the databases. Yes. Because he's a service provider who's on the database, I would imagine he was one of the people who was asked to actually tender for this. And that is where it happens that he must actually now tender for, goods that's being needed in Hartswater. So that's the one thing. And the issue of the naming and shaming. Yes, I'm more than ready to do that. But before I do that, I want to go, and I will be going there and do some oversight. I will be going there myself to Hartswater very soon. And I will be going there and I will be making it in fact, the business owner, this business owner, is prepared to accompany me to go to Hartswater so that we can name and shame the person. I've got the full name and full details of the individual concerned. But we would like also, because the department, according to them, they are busy with investigations. I don't know what type of investigations they are busy with. Every time when they want to run away from something, then they will tell you that they are busy with an investigation. I will be going together with the service provider to Hartswater at a time when it's convenient for him to accompany me. I am ready as in today and tomorrow to go to Hartswater. But understandably that you also have other stuff to do. I think this will most probably happen early in the new week, where we will be going there and where he will be pointing out the person to say, but you are the person whom have done a business with me. And the issue of how many times with this particular person, this would have been the third time. He have already given 20,000 rand away, 10,000 rand, 10,000 rand, and I must also say, according to the service provider, at the time when he paid the first 10,000 rand, his money was paid to him. The second time when he paid the 10,000 rand, his money was paid to him. Now the third time that he have to pay the money, he even said, I am prepared to pay you your money if you can pay my invoice. I only have 4,000 rand that I can pay. He transferred the money from his Capitec account into this person's Capitec account. That proof we also have. The difference here is why this person is reluctant to work this time around is because she became spoiled, you see. She doesn't want to release the payment unless this person can also pay the other 6,000 rand, which is a balance. And yet the Department of Health seems to be doing nothing about this. On the issue whether this is the first time, I was told that it is not the first time. This is not the first person. There are other people as well. Unfortunately, I don't know who they are, but apparently from what I was told by this business person, there are a string of other business people who are suffering the same consequences than what he does. The problem is they don't want to come to the fore because they are scared that the Department of Health will not do business with them anymore. Now this person is at that level where he says, I don't care whether they're going to give me business or they're not going to give me business anymore. I want my money to be paid. That is what he wants to be paid. So that is the one that I know about. What steps are we going to take? I will be visiting Hartswater. And when I visit Hartswater, I will be laying criminal charges at the local police station in Hartswater. So those are the steps that I will be taking. Because I want to make sure that the person must be aware that we know. And this service provider is more than prepared to also go on record, under oath, to say of all the dealings and to table this evidence in front of the police. Because he's been waiting now for way too long for his money to be paid unto him. I am not trying to justify. I am not trying to qualify. What he has done to pay this bribe is wrong. Let's start there. It's wrong. He's not supposed to do this. But out of sheer desperation, people are becoming desperate. And because if he's not going to do it, somebody else is going to do it. Because there are many people who is doing that anyway. And the DA, we don't agree with that at all. We don't condone that. It's wrong. People are being driven to situations where they must do things which are a contravention of the law. And that is the issue that we need to look at. Are there any more questions?
I'm just, the details are a bit, at this stage, I'd just like to know, how did the official get the service provider to pay the money into the official's account? Did the official say up front, give me a bribe, or was it done through? I'd just like to find out more about how this.
I can explain to you what I was told, because that's a question that I asked to the service provider as well.
Right.
Because I was quite interested on the issue of the bribe. How did it start? What gave rise to that? His invoice was submitted normally, like anybody would submit an invoice, you would submit it and wait. But obviously, there is delaying tactics that's been used in order for people to be paid. Now, after 3 months, if you haven't been paid, people start making inquiries to find out what is the problem. I've been waiting for 3 months already, and I still hasn't been paid. And it is then that people are starting to make kind of moves to say, you see, your invoice is lying number so and so in the queue. But if you want your invoice to be expedited in terms of the payment, you're going to have to do palm greasing in order to do that. So you can see that this person is well trained when it comes to this kind of activities, because she's not even scared to even say that to people up front. So it started off very humbly, and this is not the first person, and I can tell you it's not going to be the last one. Because the moment when they see that you have actually, there's an invoice of a relatively large amount of money that is outstanding, then they expect you to give them something in return. Or else, they're going to do exactly what they did with this man. 2017, to date, he's still waiting for his money. The previous times, he could pay it because he had money. This time around, he doesn't have money. The only money that he had is the 4,000 rand that he transferred. Here's the proof. He transferred the 4,000 rand into the bank account of the official of the Department of Health. There's even SMS messages between him and the person relating to this issue of the money that is outstanding. Are there any more questions?
Just about the amounts. Is it correct when we say, because you mentioned 10,000, 10,000, and then 4,000, so 24,000 was then paid to the official?
Yes.
Right, money. The amount that the department still owes the service provider, what's that amount?
They owe him 100 and, let's check here. Sorry, my team. That exact amount of that invoice, can you give me that amount? I know it's far over 111,000.
Yeah, I've got the 100,000. I think it was
In the pack.
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Let me just check.
Yeah.
Please bear with me.
Okay.
Double 6. 101 733.66.
Can you just repeat that, please?
101 733.66. That is the amount that is owed, that is outstanding to the service provider. The Department of Health must pay that amount of money to the person. And he was asked to put a kind of an order to say from what time, how much, and so on. And what he says here is the following. He says, I'm not going to mention the name of the service provider at this stage. And I hope you will indulge me with that one. I'm not going to mention the name of the employee because it's on here as well. For the service, for the purposes of giving that person a fair chance in order to reply, whether to you or to whoever on this as well. But what that person wrote here, he says, on Saturday, the 23rd of February 2019, I called Mrs. So-and-so, and she informed me that she was in church, so we could not discuss anything. She assured me that she would call me back, but she did not. I then took it up upon myself to send her an SMS asking about the procedures needed with regards to the processes of my application. On Monday, the 21st of February 2019, I received an SMS from Mrs. So-and-so from a landline number so-and-so. And we spoke for a duration of approximately 15 to 18 minutes. During this call, she told me that the papers were no longer valid and the people who had been part of the claim were now on pension. The people who were part of this are now on pension. She further went on to say that the processing of any claim would not be successful without me paying the 10,000 rand. Based on all the above I've outlined, I hope this matter can be resolved as soon as possible. So, this person does not have the money in order to still waste time to lay a charge, which you will do anyway, because you need to have an attorney and so on and so on. So what you see here, colleagues, I can tell you that the same department, I was called early in February this year by another service provider who have done business with these people, with the Department of Health, who's owed millions of rands to date, still outstanding. That poor man, Kimberley resident, he's got 9 people in his services, and out of that, he's about to close his doors as a result of the Department of Health not paying him his money. They are quick to ask people to come and render services to them, but they cannot pay them in return what they need to pay them. Any more questions?
I think you answered that question, but I just want clarity. The service provider didn't wait to the police station as yet to pay a charge or to open a case.
Well, that was my question to him as well. Why did you take so long?
Yeah.
Well, what he told me is exactly what I've explained. One, he says it is his intention, but he thought, let me maybe try and sort this matter out on a more humane manner, because I need my money. He doesn't have money to pay a lawyer. You must understand that he's a service provider. It's going to take long. There's procedures that must happen here and unfold and unpack and so on. But he's at that stage whereby it doesn't matter for him anymore. I mean, the poor man tells me that, Andrew, I don't even care whether this department or even this whole government don't want to do business with me anymore. I want what is due to me to be paid. Finish and clap. The case will be laid in Hartswater when we go and do the oversight. We'll go there.
You say next week?
Yeah, well, depending, it can be tomorrow or next week, depending on the availability. We will most definitely inform you when we'll be on our way to Hartswater to go and lay the charges. And obviously to meet also this individual. Because you see, the one thing that we must also guard against, I would not like to find myself getting confrontational with a person, especially when there was an understanding between 2 people. So, but unfortunately, what happened between the 2 of them became sour, almost like a relationship or like a marriage, if you want to call it that. And now the chickens have come home to roost. The person says, I want what belongs to me. That is what he wants. Any more questions?
Mr. I think firstly it's common cause that the specific department that you are alluding to, it has got this problem of them not paying service providers on time. But what makes this specific instance stand out is the question of the primary allegations. Now I want to find out whether, I mean, you've said that the fellow has not gone to the police yet to lay a charge because he doesn't have money. I think if he simply just goes to the police station to lay a charge, I mean, the NPA would be there to, to represent him should he not have, should he want proper, I mean, the NPA are basically his lawyers. I don't think he requires, a private attorney to do that. So that is the challenge that I have with the story at the moment.
Yeah. Look, the question that you're raising is, and I think I did respond to this before, but just to make sure that we are on the same page. It's also a concern to me the fact that, number one, that he took so long to take up the matter. And he is now, because he can realize that there is no intention from the department side to pay him, he's going to lay criminal charges against the official. He's going to do that. Mine is to go and do oversight when I'm there. Okay. I'm going there. But I would like to go there, and I would like him to accompany me when I go there. He's prepared to do that. Because he will be accompanying me sometime next week, even tomorrow. He is then prepared, after all these avenues that we have explored, he is now prepared to lay a criminal charge against the person. Yeah. So I think it's going to cut a long story short. The Department of Health can delay for as long as they want to with his money, because he have already waited for 2 years. What needs to happen here is the law must now take its course.
Okay, just a quick follow-up. At what stage did you realize, or did it become apparent to you that the department itself is now instituting an investigation into this thing?
Well, even in the letter here, he's also referring to people that he has engaged in. He's referring to officials, senior officials in the department. And apparently, the one senior official in the department told him, the service provider, we know this lady. We know this lady. It's not the first time that this is happening. This woman is virtual. Everybody knows in the Department of Health, when you mention the name of this particular lady, they know that this is a person that takes bribes. My question is, but why did they not do something about it, if they know about it? It's shocking.
What position does this person who took the bribe money fulfill, or would that be giving away her identity prematurely? But what sort of position is she in? Is she?
I would take it that this person is in supply chain management. Obviously, supply chain management / finance. You must remember it's a satellite office of the department, so it could be that the people up there might be, some of the functions are being intertwined into each other. I'm not saying it is the case. I'm just making an assertion that that might be the issue here. Because the fact that this lady is in such a powerful position, where she must press the button to say your funds have been released, it tells you that she's in a, I'm not sure what position that she holds, but it tells you that she's in a powerful position, because when this money gets released, well, somebody must be held account. And that is where she can play actually a monopoly with people to say, you know what, this is what happens when people don't want to pay what we ask them to be paid. I am sure, as I'm seated here, and that was a question that you raised also earlier on, and I want to make an additional follow-up on that one. I am sure, as I'm sitting here, that this woman is not alone in this thing. You can never be alone and run through supply chain management processes and payments, etc., etc. It should be a kind of a syndicate that is involved in this thing. I can't prove it at the moment, but at the time when the investigations will be conducted, it will come out that it can't be that only one person was involved in this thing. It can be. Now you see the insistence on the 10,000 rand. Because imagine if this was only one person involved here. This person would have said, okay, maybe let me take the 4,000 rand for now. But because there are other people that must also be paid in the supply chain, that is why it is so difficult for this person maybe to say, I cannot accept the 4,000 rand. The service provider says, I've done business with you in the past. I've given you 10,000 rand on 2 occasions. It was good enough for you to trust me. All that I'm asking you is, pay my money. I'm prepared to pay the 6,000 rand, which is the balance of the money. And then he paid his 4,000. The lady doesn't want to take his calls anymore.
How long after the payments were made did the person receive his money, on average?
Well, I would say within less than a week. Within less than a week.
Lastly, so this person has been receiving, this was not the first.
No, that was not the second one. There have been a number of interactions before. And that is why with this particular service provider and this particular lady, they had 2 successful deals before this one. This is the one that went sour. It's the third one. But the previous 2, she got the money, 10,000. And there's proof to that effect as well. There's proof to that effect as well.
Did you perhaps consider checking the possibility or coincidence that the same service provider was taken by the same department more than once?
Well, that is a supply chain management process which I cannot speak on. It's something which the department will have to speak on, unfortunately. Any more questions? Well, on that note, I would like to say thank you very much for coming. It was nice having you here again, and I'm looking forward to share with you, because I can tell you, just for what it's worth, late yesterday evening, in between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, I got a call from a whistleblower. And this whistleblower is from Colesberg. As we speak now, I send one of my guys to go and fetch very, very sensitive information where some MECs are being implicated into that. I need to go through that information, and I'm sure by next week I will be ready. I will be in a position to have a similar kind of situation that we're having here today. I'm looking forward for that because I would like to get myself familiarized with the content of the information that I will be receiving. At the moment, I've got an idea what it is, but I would like to see the documented evidence, whether it speaks to what we have spoken last night. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.